So thank you everyone for joining us today for the second part of our webinar series on breaking the cycle, voices from the field to integrate family strengthening principles to practice. On behalf of IUCN and Udyan Care team, we warmly welcome you all. Before we begin our session today, just a few instructions on a smooth and distraction-free session. I would request everyone to please introduce yourself. To introduce yourself in the chat box, please mention from where you're joining from, your state and city, and if possible, your designation and organization. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat box. If you have any comments or you want to share any case studies during the session, I would request everyone to put it in the chat box. We will definitely take up after the session or the speakers finish their sharing. And please make sure that your mics are off when the session is in progress. And it would be wonderful if you could, if possible, if you could keep your videos on for a more interactive session. And a very important safeguarding policy announcement as part of our child safeguarding policy. Please do not share any details of the children and family which may disclose their identity. I would request all the speakers and the participant to maintain the privacy and confidentialities of the families and children that we work with. And again, thank you everyone. And before we begin, just wanted to give you an update about how we came toward this webinar and why we are doing this and what is the objective behind this webinar. As I shared, this is the second part of the series, and we launched the series in collaboration with Udyan Care to mark the April month, Family Strengthening and Child Abuse and Neglect Prevention month, which was in April. So in April, we did our first webinar. And the idea behind having this initiative is to aim to amplify the voices of child protection practitioners, civil society organization, and academicians who are working to strengthen families and support children to grow up in an environment free from abuse, neglect, and maltreatment. The objective of this series is to create a platform for exchanging learning and sharing knowledge about diverse approaches and programs that promote family-based care. So the reason why we are together is to also learn from each other and what kind of interventions, community interventions and programs, which other parts of the other organization in different parts of the country are working with and how they are supporting families. So this is just a platform to share all this. In our previous series also, which was focusing on the interventions from North region, speakers from NSCG, EVAC, Delhi, CRY, Butterflies, and Human Welfare Voluntary Organization shared their insights. In the first session, we focused discussion on the importance of family strengthening in preventing child institutionalization, importance of having family, building capacities of the family, linking families with social protection schemes, innovative practices such as vigilance group, parenting module, and CRY's Bal Bharti program in Delhi was discussed during the first series. And we also had a representative from Butterflies, which shared their work related to street connected children, and they emphasize on the participation of children and families while designing their programs, which was one of the important thing that we learned during their presentation. Also, we had another organization who joined us from Jammu and Kashmir, the Human Welfare Voluntary Organization, and they discussed their initiatives like Child Protection Gap groups and Child Fund, which have resulted in village child protection plans, community-led funding, and in the institutionalization of 175 children. So their initiative was very encouraging, and how the community have come together and created a fund which is then provided to families who are struggling to support children, their education or any kind of other issues that the families have. And during this, they use this fund as a sponsorship to those families so that the families do not put the children in the institutions. So this was the previous webinar, and today again we are bringing the voices from western and central regions of the country. So we have esteemed panelists with us, and they will be highlighting the community practices and interventions in their area of function. So today we'll be focusing about the initiatives from the Western and Central region. And I'm very happy that Ms. Asuni Grace from Udyan Care has graciously agreed to moderate today's session. Ms. Asuni Grace is a project coordinator, advocacy, research and training at Udyan Care. and she has done her master's from this and is currently working as a project coordinator at Udyan Care, where she supports documenting evidence, creating knowledge resources, and driving visibility to strengthen family-based care and aftercare system for young people. So again, thank you everyone. Please keep your mic off during the session and if possible, your video is on. And I would now request Asoni to please take over and share and start this session and discussion.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, yeah.
So thank you so much, ma'am, again, for setting the tone and walking us through the housekeeping rules and then that quick recap from our first webinar. I think it really helped us stay connected to the larger journey we all are together. Now we will be moving into what I am personally excited about, our panel discussion. So, like Kavita ma'am just shared, today we are privileged to have with us leaders who brings decades of experience and insights. They have been working with children, families, and communities. So I believe this conversation will not just be about sharing information. I think this is going to be sparking ideas and within ourselves, reflections, and then actions which every one of us can take back to our own work. So a very warm welcome to everyone. And it is now my pleasure to introduce Ms. Tasha Kochi. She's the Chief Executive and founding member of Leher. With over 15 years of experience working in child rights sector, she has contributed to national strategies to strengthen child protections. She have also worked with UNICEF and Childline and developed innovative tools to strengthen the grassroots system. Her leadership in Leher focuses on program development, innovations in child protection, and she brings very wealth of expertise in participatory research as well and community based care practice. So, ma'am, Leher has been doing very phenomenal work with communities and is also part of a forum called the NEEF Collective. So, can you please share with us more about this initiative of this NEEF Collective and then the importance of this such kind of forums like this in family strengthening? And I think we would be very interested in learning about Leher's engagement in community-based child protection initiative as well. So please share some few practical interventions from Leher's experience, which have helped families remain strong and then kept the families together. So yes, ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much, Asoni. So I'll begin. I've been given a strict 12-minute time frame, so I'm going to begin. So for the last 12 years, Leher has actually been developing a model called the Bal Suraksha Hub model, working closely with communities to strengthen the ecosystem for children to thrive in. So when we say Bal Suraksha Hub, what do we really mean? Bal Suraksha Hubs are essentially village or urban ward level collaborative spaces created by the coming together of the Village Child Protection Committee, the children's groups, and the Gram Panchayat. So I'm going to request Kavita to just play a short video which will quickly share with you the 3 pillars of this model and what their essential role, purpose is in building that safe ecosystem for children. Kavita, could we play that video?
Sure. Please let me know if you're able to hear the voice.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes, audible, yes. Okay, so what you saw was the Bal Suraksha. Yeah. So what you saw just now was the Bal Suraksha Hub model. That's essentially the three pillars: the children's group, the Gram Panchayat, and the Village Child Protection Committee. What I'm going to try and do now is through two real-time cases from Leher's field as part of the NEEV Transform Collective. I'm just going to try and share how this model works, how the VCPC, the children's group, and the Gram Panchayat work together to support families and build that safer ecosystem at that community level. So this first case, which you're seeing on your screen right now, this is the case from Gadchiroli. So these were two brothers, Yash and Hemant. Their parents passed away and they had to move in with their grandparents who were barely subsisting with, because the grandparents were also doing daily wage work. So they were genuinely struggling to make ends meet. And now when the two boys also came into their home, there were more mouths to feed. So the Anganwadi worker, seeing this issue, she immediately spoke and shared this with the VCPC. The VCPC, recognizing the situation, they visited the family, they visited the grandparents, and shared with them about a scheme called the Bal Sangopan scheme. Now, the Bal Sangopan scheme is a scheme quite similar to the sponsorship scheme, but this Bal Sangopan is available or accessible only in Maharashtra. So the grandparents were genuinely happy to hear about the scheme, but were not aware of how do you access, what are the documents, where do you go, who do you approach, where do you submit any of this. So the VCPC, together with the Gram Panchayat, they work together to support the grandparents in collating, the death certificate, the medical certificate, the birth registration, all the supporting documents, and help them fill in the application form for submission. And they help them submit the form as well. But 3 months down the line, when no response was received from the administration, the VCPC made the attempt of visiting the DCPU and trying to see what was the holdup. And the DCPU reassessed the case. And on reassessment, the DCPU felt that Hemant and Yash's case could be actually submitted as a stronger case under sponsorship under Mission Vatsalya. So it was presented as a sponsorship case, and within a month's time, the family did get linked to the sponsorship, and money got transferred into their account. And definitely the financial burden reduced, and both Yash and Hemant, instead of like dropping out of school and possibly being pushed into labor, they have been able to continue their education and continue going to school. But I think what one wants to present here is, if you see the role of that the VCPC, the Bal Suraksha Hub, played through and through. Right from the beginning, they played the role of whether it's identification of the case, to working with the grandparents to create that awareness on the scheme, to helping them collate the supporting documents, helping them submit the documents, following up on the scheme with the Gram Panchayat at the DCPU office, helping in that reassessment. And thereafter, even after the children and the family receive that monetary support, the VCPC, the Bal Suraksha Hub, continues to keep watch over the children. Like, for instance, today, both the children are part of the children's group, and the children's group are ensuring that that Yash and Hemant are going to school, that there's a peer support group for them, that the VCPC and the Gram Panchayat on a regular basis keep following up and with both the grandparents to see, okay, like right now you're receiving this monetary support, but is there anything additional you need? They're trying to see if there are any other schemes that they can link the family with, but ensuring that the family knows that they are there as support. I'm going to share another case as well. Could we just shift to the next slide? Yeah, so this is a similar case. This is a similar case from Yavatmal. Here, Pranjali and Divya, these were two girls, two sisters who were staying with their parents in Mumbai. But their mother got murdered in Mumbai, and the father returned with the two girls to Yavatmal. And when they went into the community, they stayed with with the grandmother over there. But within months of returning to the community, both the father and the grandmother passed away. Now, here again, the aunt did welcome them, provide care, and was able to provide some temporary shelter. But she also was one who was in a joint family. She had like her brother-in-law's family, in-laws, their kids, all of that. So it was many people already under one roof. So she found it quite challenging to be committing to trying to take care of these two girls. So she reached out to the Nagar Sevak, trying to see, is there a more long-term, practical, sustainable solution that could be sought for these girls, especially since they'd been through so much loss in such a short period. So the Nagar Sevak, who was part of the panchayat, he immediately reached out to the VCPC. The VCPC in turn promptly visited the family, spoke to the aunt, and they tried to see if kinship care was possible. But since there was no other relative around, and seeing that even an additional sponsorship support or Bal Sangopan support is not going to cut the job, they approached and called the child helpline. They called 1098. And so 1098, the child helpline representatives came along with the DCPO representatives, had a conversation with the family, and tried to understand what best could be a possible solution. But seeing that just mere monetary support would not help in this case, they prepared a social investigation report, placed it in front of the CWC, and the CWC thereafter directed that the children be placed in a shelter close to the community. So the children today, yes, they are in a shelter home, but they are going to school and they are receiving the mental health care support. But here again, the VCPC continues to play a role, because it's not that, like now the children are in the home, they are out of sight, out of mind. They continue to push the aunt to maintain a relationship with the children by accompanying her from time to time to visit the children in the home. In this way, they're also seeing that the children are safe in the home, and they're continuing to receive their education and everything. So again, here the aunt knows that she has the support of the VCPC, of the Gram Panchayat, if by chance something happens. So I think both these cases, if you can go to the next slide. Yeah, in both these cases, I think what we need to see is there are certain realities which we need to be aware of in this backdrop. That the distance between the formal child protection system, like your CWC, your DCPU, your child helpline, they all are structures and mechanisms that exist at the district level. And that's quite distant away from the community, from the village where families and the children reside. So it's not so easily accessible. More importantly, what we also have seen is that, from just doing baselines across the country, like whether Orissa, Bihar, Jammu Kashmir, Maharashtra, in 15 plus districts, what we've seen is child protection system, a structure can only respond to a case if a case is reported to them. And largely what we've seen, at least through the baselines done, is that less than 10% are even aware that, what is child protection, or what is a CWC, what is a DCPU, what is the 1098 number. So with low awareness, there is low reporting as well. So this is another reality which we need to be aware of. And we also know that while families are aware of a Manrega and maybe PDS, but schemes like a Bal Sangopan or sponsorship under Mission Vatsalya, there is little to no awareness on this. So as a result, very few of these cases, when you see it in the community, very few of these actually get reported. So keeping this reality and backdrop in mind, if you can just go to the next slide. What we see is the role and the necessity for a Bal Suraksha Hub to not only be formed, but to actively function is very, very necessary, because by virtue of the VCPC, the children's group, the Gram Panchayat being composed of members of the community, um, and being in the community itself, they become the first line responders. So they are able to, like if you see in both the cases, it was the Anganwadi worker who was part of the VCPC who detected the case. So early detection is possible, prompt action is possible. In both the cases, the VCPCs were the ones who immediately made a visit to try and understand the situation. They are able to also reach out. The Bal Suraksha Hub reduces or bridges the gap between the child, the family, the village, the community, and the administration and the CP protection systems. So when the bridging of the gap happens, then there's also a lot more reporting, there's a lot more linkage. Like in Maharashtra, again, what we see is the Anganwadi worker at the community level, she is mostly the one made responsible for reporting, for filling in the application forms on schemes and everything. So she's already inundated with responsibility. Now, if reporting and all these such cases also come to her, she's got a lot of work then. So as you've seen in both these cases, sure, the Anganwadi worker was again the person who identified the case, but she got the support and she had the backing of the VCPC and the Gram Panchayat, who not only visited the families, but they were the ones who were filling in the application forms, making the submissions, accompanying her even on visits to the DCPU. So with that support, now she also is able to perform this role. And the other thing is, like both these cases, again, sure, in both the cases, they were orphans, but the intervention was different. This was keeping in mind that what were the needs of the child in both the cases. Sure, kinship care was possible in one, but in the other, kinship care wasn't possible. But the VCPC, together with the CP structures systems, they were able to find a more practical long-term solution for it. And I think lastly, just this, that through both the cases, you again see there's no one superhero in it. It required the alertness of the Anganwadi worker. It required the prompt action of the VCPC, whether from the visits to creating awareness on the schemes, to working with the panchayat to build, collate all those documents. And lastly, what the Bal Suraksha hubs help in is just this. It not only helps to build that security or respond to the issue as is, but also engages with the community, engages with the family and the child to ensure support for the child through and through the years to come. So it's not a one-time support, it's a long-term support that they provide. Yeah, that's about it. Oh, were you guys able to hear? I'm just reading
Yes,
chat.
yes.
Okay. Yeah, I hope I hope I'm within time limit. Okay.
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing this I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah. Okay, ma'am. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing this very impactful stories. It is really inspiring to hear how this Bal Suraksha Hub is operating at the heart of communities. Like, because what really stands out from your presentation for me was the gap between the formal child protection system, like which are often very far from the village, and the children themselves. So it is really very beautiful how the hub is playing a bridge between that. So thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Now I would like to invite our next speaker, Ms. Avanti Moore. She's a professional social worker with over 15 years of experience. She's specializing in child and adolescent counselor, marriage counselor, and family therapist. So over the years, she have worked with organizations like Action Aid, Family Counseling Center, and Sakaf Trust. Since 2013, she's been associated with Family Service Center, where she's now working as a joint director, and she's ensuring all the effective implementations of the programs, and she's overseeing the organization administration to create impactful impact for families and communities. So, ma'am, the service center has decades of experience in promoting foster care and supporting vulnerable families. So, could you please discuss some of the most effective strategies in promoting foster care? And can you also share how the family service center's intervention in is ensuring that children remain in the families, and maybe how this interventions or just like family service centers can be replicated or scale up somewhere else also? Yes, ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction. And am my voice is audible?
Yes.
Your voice is
Okay.
breaking.
So thank you so much, and ISCN for giving us Family Service Center the opportunity to share our various models in terms of family strengthening. To start with, can you just open the slide, please, Savita? So, I'll just give a little brief that Family Service Center has been since 1955, and with the core vision that to empower family, the core society, and all the programs and interventions that Family Service Center is having is with a belief that how a family can be strengthened. And so we have like the four major models through which I would like to share how the intervention is carried out in the field and what are the challenges and the outcomes when we practice these models with our clients and beneficiaries. Next. So the major services of Family Service Center are education sponsorship, adoption, and temporary family care program, Bal Sangopan Yojana, community outreach program. So these are our four major programs which we intervene. So I will start with education sponsorship program. So as we all know that education is one of the most important criteria in terms of when we look into family strengthening. So FSC has been since 1963 implementing this project, and at present each year we have around 450 students who are enrolled into this project. And when we look into like education sponsorship, so it's not only the core belief that FSC has is that it's not only to provide financial assistance, but to how can we have an holistic development with these families. So it's an intervention. It's a kind of the first point of intervention towards reaching out to this family through education sponsorship. So we mainly work with the community located at Kolaba, Kafpared, and Uttan area. So we identify children and families who would like to kind of motivate or need that assistance in terms of education. So we enroll them with the help of a proper scrutiny counseling session, and with that, with home visits, we carry it's been done to reach out to these and get more details or the problems that the child or the family is facing. And then with individual counseling sessions, we conduct in terms of when we identify the students, then what we do is like we make it sure that these students are not only guided in terms of career guidance, but also we ensure that what are the problems in the family, or if there is any domestic violence issue that has been there, so we kind of address through this program. So this program has been really very impactful, and like all the children that are with whom we work are mostly first generation learners. So the family needs that assistance. they want their children to get educated, but they don't know how to get education, or if they are done their 12th, then in what way they can go ahead and complete their graduation. So with this program, there are many students even from slums of Kolaba, Kapare, Uttan area, where we were able to the children have also done electronic engineering. We have done CA. So the only key to that was that we gave them that space, that platform, wherein they can share their problems, and addressing those problems, academic help was also given to them. Next is adoption and temporary family care program. So this program has been started since 1962. So FSC is one of the licensed agencies to carry out the legal process of adoption. But as when there are parents or a couple who register themselves for adoption, there is definitely a lot of anxiety and a lot of questions, a lot of stigma, or they go through a lot of emotional imbalance, where they want to know what adoption is, but they are not aware of, or what the society will say. So when these parents reach out to us, the counseling is one of the main key to help them. And even the parents, we try to link them with other parents who have done the adoption. So we address various issues of adoption through various parents meeting, give them a platform where they meet other parents also. So adoption is one of the points that Family Service Center looks into. Then we are the pioneers to start temporary family care program, foster care program. We have named it as temporary family care. So basically, all the children who are in need of care and protection. So these children, till their rehabilitation, either it's restoration with families or with the birth mother, the child, we believe, needs a family environment, and from day one the child should be in a family environment, because each day is important for the child, for their future and holistic development. So FSC has been ensuring that all the children in need and protection, when the custody is given to Family Service Center, they are being placed in family care, that is temporary family care. So we identify various families, and there is a very like a process that is involved. But To ensure that what is the purpose behind enrolling the parents who would like to enroll for the foster care program, what is their motive, or are they emotionally ready for it? And then we enroll them into the temporary family care, and counseling is one of the most key aspects of this program, because as it is temporary family care, so definitely when a child is placed in a family, there is attachment. And so to ensure that it's temporary, so we from day one the parents are being counseled that the child is kept in their care till the rehabilitation is done. But definitely the children, either it is born to the birth parents or through adoption, the change that the impact that is there, because the child gets that family environment in the period, is very positive, and we can see that growth and that positive development in the children. So that is about temporary family care program. The next, about Bal Sangopan Yojana, this is also one of the models which Family Service Center is enrolled into, and since 1997. So we have around 40 families who are enrolled into this program, and mainly the families going through crisis, crisis mainly related to single parent or orphan or HIV positive TB patients. All these little critical cases are being enrolled into Bal Sangopan Yojana, and it's a Maharashtra funded program. So we need to do correspondence with the government authorities. But what Family Service Center also takes an initiative and looks into is that it's not only the monetary support, but we have more focus towards counseling and how the family can be empowered. If there is, for instance, if there is a family identified and a single parent, we ensure and
Avanti ji, you're not audible.
is it audible now?
Yeah, it's audible now.
Okay. So with this 2250, definitely that is not going to help, but with various options that we provide to them, maybe employment related options, or in terms of connecting them to different various other schemes, so that the family is empowered and they don't only rely on this amount that is being receiving to them. So this is one Bal Sangopan Yojana program. Then next is about community intervention. So this is also one of the most important project of Family Service Center. As I mentioned that we worked in these three areas: Kolaba, Kaffared, and Uttan. So the all these communities, we first identified the need of the people, and accordingly over the years various programs have been evolved. Like if, as you can see in the screen, it is intervention with children. So from starting from Balwadi to Balmandal study class. So study class is like, because in Mumbai city, there is like the room is 10 by 10. So where the child will get a place to study. So we have the study center where they can come and take this facility. Then adolescent groups, there are many various issues that are being addressed through this adolescent groups, even child sexual abuse and peer influence, how it is impacting their life, their growth. So all these issues are being addressed. Then we have Convo Care project. Basically, there is a lot of myth or belief when it comes to counseling, that people don't come forward and they don't wish to say that, okay, I need a counseling help. So we have this project where it's a conversation with care. So we address these aspects, and if there are any severe cases, then accordingly, gradually through different sessions, we help the client and their family to resolve, or if any test or medication is required with expertise. Then intervention with women. So intervention with women, we have self-help group programs, antenatal and postnatal care program, Udan project. So all these projects are basically women related to women empowerment, but mainly focusing on not only that, like for example, if self-help group program, so it's not only that it's related to finance, but through the self-help group program, we kind of reach out to all the women and address various issues that they are facing, or they need help from Family Service Center towards empowerment and family strengthening. Same applies to intervention with youth and family health programs. So tuberculosis program also, a lot of people uh, go through the medication, but then they need family support, or sometimes family is also not aware, okay, how they will tackle the issue when there is not even two times food available. So FSC helps them with not only nutrition, but also how the other family member can be support system during this crisis situation. So that is about the community interventions. Then challenges and way forward. So definitely, when we work into family strengthening, there are various challenges in terms of people are not aware, or their goals are in terms of short term. But as an agency, when you have to make them understand, or how, what is empowerment, or how they can come out of the vicious circle of, it can be addiction, it can be even any problems related to finance, but to show them the vision so that they can come out of that problem. While working with government bodies, definitely there is a challenge sometimes about temporary family care programs. There is not much clarity, or we definitely have need to explain the like, at one end we know that family strengthening is important, child needs to be in family environment, but then how temporary family care program is helping. So we have to even communicate to the authorities and make them understand the beauty part of it, the best positive part of it. And but with over all this, definitely we have to ensure, we ensure that we have a support system, we have professional social workers who would like to believe in the concept, or believe in the family strengthening, can make a huge impact in the lives of people. And with all these models, these are some of the, I mean, I have a time constraint, but these are some of the uh, projects that family service center looks into, but ensures that, as we all believe that family strengthening is important, but how to do family strengthening, in what way, and to addressing the small problems which can be addressed, and the family realizes it, yes, it is a need, and when as a family they kind of work over it, definitely there is an empowerment. So family service center very strongly believes into it. And yes, so yeah, I think the next slide we have given our information, and maybe more details we can share, definitely, if anybody wants to have more information towards any project. But yes, thank you, ICN, but in a very short time. But definitely, we strongly believe that family strengthening is important, but in what way, what model? Uh, this is the four models that we would like to present, and in field what we work into. Yes, yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for sharing all of this innovations, approaches, the type of interventions you are doing. What really stands out for me is like how the service center is like supporting the children, the families through a very holistic way, like education, adoptions, also like temporary family care, and then also engaging with the community at large as well. Like when you were highlighting the challenges, I could connect it as well because we have a similar community-based project which fit families together that will daycare is implementing. So like whatever challenges and way forward you have highlighted, I could really connect it, and then there's still lots of work to do, but I believe like we are taking like small steps towards it. So yes, thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing. Now I would like to moving forward, I would like to invite Ms. Shivani Taneja. So ma'am have spent more than 25 years with Muskan, which is based in Bhopal. She have been working closely with the notified tribes and then marginalized communities. Ma'am strongly believes that education must go hand in hand with children's well-being and empowerment. She has been working in building children's collective agency, addressing mental health during difficult childhoods, and advancing social justice. Ma'am, you have been working with large-scale collaborations like such as the Safe City program, and while also engaging directly with marginalized communities, like I've mentioned, denotified tribes and then street children. So we would be very eager to know about this initiative of Safe City. While like what kind of support and services are provided under this initiative, and like how this Safe City is like linked with family strengthening, and also, please share some few practical steps to bridge the gap between policies, frameworks, and then the family realities when we're working with vulnerable families. Yeah, ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Sony and Kavita and the entire Udayan Care team for hosting these events. I think it's also an opportunity for all of us to consolidate and think, reflect back on what we are doing, because sometimes the work is quite integrated. But while I was preparing for the presentation for today, I was thinking, yeah, in the long term, one is talking about preventive issues that you all have also been speaking about, because I don't speak in the same terminology, but I think the work that we all are doing is geared towards that program. Kavita, can I request you to start the presentation? Yeah. So this is just a simple slide because I felt that all of us are really dreaming about children. And when we dream for our own children, I think we have no boundaries. We don't have any policies. We don't have any budgets. We just dream. And we want those dreams to be completed. We do have programs, we strategize. And I think as an organization, when we are dreaming for other people's children, we are also trying not to limit ourselves. We want to feel, I feel that children anywhere are our children, and therefore we have to think about all our children, the ones who are around us today, the ones who are going to come in the future generations also. And therefore, I called my presentation about dreaming for other people's children. And we keep moving further, Kavita. And I would start with speaking about the Safe City program. Just briefly, Muskan is an organization which got registered in 1998. So we've been working for 26, 27 years. And we have been working with children in need. But another perspective came to our work when we partnered with UNICEF as part of different organizations. There's Aram, Bachpan, Nifsid, Uday, and Muskan. We all came into under the banner of the Safe City program, which is led by UNICEF and in collaboration with the municipal corporation. Without getting into many details, because I think even the Bal Suraksha Hub does work on the similar model, but highlighting that even in urban areas, our estimates, our data also show that about 40% of the people live in extreme poverty or live in slum settlements. Like you see this image that even in a city state capital, you have issues which are very drastically unfair or unjust for the poor people. And the Safe City program, can we move further? And the Safe City program, through different strategies, which is focusing on enhancing children's and individual collective agency, building networks of children and youth to raise the issues, creating platforms where children can raise their issues to the stakeholders, maybe the ward councillors, the municipal corporation, to education department. So these are different agencies, different government setups where the children have been raising their issues and taking through their participatory mapping exercises, highlighting what all is a problem in their own community, researching on that, and then taking it forward. And you have the ward level children protection committees like the village level committees, which Tasha spoke about. And there's been an entire journey of each kind of government stakeholder, which you'll see in the following next slides, photographs. May it be the Anganwadi workers, the education department people, the bus services, the police machinery. Making everybody accountable towards the children of the city is the vision with which all of us have been working. And it's a program which has been able to see many stakeholders at least recognizing that children are a big segment whose rights, whose protection is each person's accountability. It's not about NGOs, it's not about one department or the other, but how do we all collectively work towards this is something which the Safe City program and its partners in the municipal corporation have been able to bring into each ward. And therefore, the mechanism of reporting of cases, and getting basic entitlement documents in place, everything has been much more streamlined than what we saw 10 years back. And we're happy we've been able to be part of that program and are doing that effort. But my second part of the presentation is more about when you're working with city level programs, when you're working with government mechanisms at that level, how does each child in a city of 25 lakhs, how does each vulnerable child get, are we going to be missing out on that child, or how do we make sure that child works? And I think the system works for that child, and therefore the role of the civil society is very much important. And so in Muskan, also with the support of the Safe City program and through other donors and the experience that being a grassroots organization has, we've been able to identify more vulnerable groups. And I was happy to read on the ICANN compendium and other sites that there's a discussion on denotified tribes that is happening. So I think when we are in our country, when we talk about vulnerable children, we need to name them by their caste, class, because majority come from a certain space, and recognizing that space, because if they're just clubbed as children in need, then we're missing out on the entire purpose of when we're talking about grounding them in their families and their communities. Then what is the situations of those families and those communities is something which we have felt to work more with. And working in Bhopal, we find that the Vimukta communities, are the denotified tribes who were criminalized in the 1870s, those communities and the Adivasi groups who've shifted to the city, and children with single parents or no parents are more vulnerable than others. I'm not trying to say anyone is less vulnerable, but if we have to talk about these communities, I would think 99% of the urban Adivasi children and the Vimukta communities are prone to being rescued and put into institutional homes if those systems were working. But thankfully, there are gaps there, so everybody is not in an institution. But these are the children who are seen on the roads. These are the children who are seen begging. These are the children who have problems and in different kinds in their families. And therefore, when we talk about these communities, then we have to become much more people-centric, or have to make the systems more people-centric. And therefore, the data, the lens is not so much about the city, but is also about each individual, each family, and the community whom we are working with. Can I have the next slide, please? So taking forward from the earlier slide, so these communities, like all of you who have been working on the ground very well know, that these communities carry experiences of poverty. There's a historical stigma that they carry, extreme discrimination. Many are homeless because they don't have a proper place, or they haven't been able to access entitlements. There's a trauma which is complex, intergenerational, with leading to alcoholism, leading to suicides, which is causing some kind of a dysfunctionality in the family setup. So it's not about that the family doesn't care about the child, but the family is also trying to cope with all that they have experienced as people themselves. And therefore, it's a cycle of trauma that the community is going through and the children are going through. So, and majority of these children have seen their families being violated by the systems themselves. So it's like there's a fear factor which they have strongly with the entire system. Can I have the next slide, please? Yeah. So in our journey of working with these communities with the lens of safe city and child protection, and merging with the, how do we merge the whole work with the systems, we feel that the argument has continuously been that each community should get a chance. It's not about, I mean, no community can be left behind in the constitution we have. Every community should get a chance. Each child should get a chance, and we know that it will not work in the first time. So we have to be available, we have to be around continuously and keep getting chances, creating opportunities for people. And in these years of work in Muskaan with many people's support, with learning from many people and being part of many like-minded programs and organizations, we feel we've been able to crack some things, not completely all. Can we continue, Kavita? So just an image that this was a child, this image is of a child, on the right side of the screen that you see children working with carrying the Bharat lights, because this is the usual cycle of work that they do. And or they are scrap picking on the roads. On the bottom slide, you see a photograph of a child speaking to the NCPCR on being picked up and violated at a police station for 3 days being thrashed up. and this is about 10 years back, the child dropped out, and similar children dropped out from school so many times, but just being open to them, being around them whenever they drop out or whenever they are pushed out and have challenges. So these children are now becoming lawyers and educators themselves. So to believe that our children are capable, and like I said, when you're dreaming of other people's children, then how do you extend yourself? Is something we are, as an organization, have to keep asking ourselves. So one of the main things is a safe space for children. So when it is a safe city, but then it has to be in a interpersonal dialogue, interpersonal spaces have to become safe spaces to just many a times just to cry or just to drink water, just to be themselves. That is an approach that is very important to us, that there should be centers and places where children can just come and be. Then a lot of meetings on parenting for community support and family support, but believing that parents also need to be in their cycle of healing because there is a trauma, like I mentioned earlier, that they've lived. I go back to what Avanti also shared, a lot of support through their education and through their lives. Not getting into the details, but it's the very first generation which has to reach college or higher education as much as possible. Their documents, de-addictions is a very big thing that we work with. And the other thing is when a community is going through a strengthening process or a healing process, but is also continuously facing the world's negativity, and it's become a cycle of the coping has become something which is not working so well for the children or for themselves also. With all love for them, I'm saying that. Then identifying people in the community and youth who can support this journey, because maybe everybody is not able to do it. They are all healing, in the process of healing, but still there have to be specific people who can do it, who will pick it up faster than the others. And like in the next slide, you were just seeing, Kavita, can I have the next slide? So in the next slide, as you see, a lot of our work is also on youth leadership, because we believe that the kind of historical marginalization that these communities have, then it's not going to be something which is going to be possible within an organization's lifetime or bandwidth also. So then how do we build leadership within the communities for sustaining the work? And like you see in both these photographs, there's a Gond community youth and the Pardi youth who are now taking on a lot of the efforts. So while as an organization, we have some successes and some disappointments, they are also walking on that journey, and we are facilitating them to do it. How do they make it work for their children? Because when a child doesn't have food at home, and the sponsorship is going to work or not going to work, because Bhopal has a very limited targeted sponsorships which are programmed, and there's so many people in need, then a child may end up going to a neighbor's house who may be an extended relatives, but by and large, every child is in need. So how many such young people can be there to support each other is the process that we have been trying to encourage, while also connecting with other networks outside the communities. We have the next slide, please. Sorry, I'm running through this. So just sharing briefly that we've also learned a lot. And when I say roots, because we believe that you have to learn, you have to find the strength and be proud of where you came from. May it be that you came from a so-called ex-criminal tribe. May it be that your father or mother is drinking and is sleeping on the roadside, but still you have to find your roots within your own communities. And therefore, a lot of work around building your roots, but strengthening your roots. So learning to forgive yourselves also, your families also, for the harm that they have. I don't think any child is really angry with their parents, but understanding how that is damaging them also at times. So strengthening their roots in their own communities, but also finding ways to fly. And therefore, we believe that when we just that all of us as organizations also need to move out of, I mean, I think in Muskan, we've tried to just be there as a family for the children and understanding that I'm not one family member, but understanding that the mother and the father and the brother and the grandparents and the neighbor and a Muskan team member, all of us have different roles to complete in that family for that child. Because to expect that a community which is vulnerable will be able to manage everything is burdening them further. And I'm not at all saying that it's not that they don't try or that we should not try, but also understanding that poverty and marginalization don't get bypassed by any NGO's program. And therefore, what is the role of an NGO also needs to continuously, we can't put it all out there that, there's a high level of resilience, there's a lot of strengthening, there's a lot of hope, but there's a lot of, the world has not been just to the society, to communities, and therefore, I think we all also don't need to be only social workers. We need to also be with the people more, is what I feel. We have to open up our boundaries. And once we do that, I think the burden of being, you feel less stretched, because that's part of your role. You have to be there when a child is crying or when a child needs their hand to be held for whatever reason. And I mean, you can see in this photograph, there are 15-year-olds who are mothers. The mother also needs, the child also needs, is what I'm trying to say. And that support system is what Muskan has been trying to enhance as an organization, through the youth, through community elders who can play that role, who can tell stories very well, who can hold on to the children, who can give a home to the child if the father is beating up the mother. That's my presentation. And thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I was just about to inform you that we're running a little bit late. Thank you so much, ma'am. First of all, thank you for sharing the journey of the Safe City program and your personal journey. What I could make it out from your presentation was the really importance of collaboration, because there is so much that we can do if we all come together, and there's very less thing that one person can do. So and also like how you reminded that all these children, they are with very adverse experience, and then the families and then the community itself are healing from their intergenerational trauma. I think that is such a very good reminder to everyone, because we are all working with the same stakeholders: children, families, and communities. So it is a very good reminder for me, and I'm sure for everyone, that we do need that strengthening the system alone is not enough. Think we really need to see ourselves also, because we are entering their system as an outsider. So that is so beautifully shared. Thank you so much, ma'am. And now we will be going to our question and answer section. So I would request if everyone, if you have any questions for any of our speakers, if you want to know more, if you could if you want to drop it, if you have already dropped the question in the chat, then we can pick it up, or else you can just unmute yourself and then you can ask the question.
Asuni, there is one question from you itself to Avanti ma'am about the open schooling. Would you like to ask your question to Avanti?
I think that's from someone else. Yeah.
Yeah, I could just.
Open schooling and the distance learning can be a tool for the family strengthening or for the rehabilitation of the children. Is there any agency or organization which is working actively in this segment?
There are many students who opt for open schooling or distance learning mode. In Mumbai, there are various institutes. And if a child is in need of kind of has to be there at home and do some job, so we kind of give them the option of distance learning, but some kind of assistance, financial assistance is needed so that the child continues to um, educate. So in that way, we kind of enroll them into the education sponsorship program, give them a financial help, at the same time encourage them to do a job so that they utilize the time, and that financial assistance is not only temporary but even uh, uh, later impact, so that the child gets experience and can offer more job options towards family empowerment.
Thank you. Continue.
Um, Asmi, there is a question from Mr. Abhilash Iyer. I know Tasha has already responded to this question, but Tasha, if you could respond here as well.
Yeah. Okay, so when we say children's group and children's committee, I think it's just nomenclature. But yeah, it's this children's group is in the community, made up of children of the community. And what is that called? It's girls, boys. It's basically children between the age group of 10 to 18 years. And about 10 to 15 of these children meet on a monthly basis, and they're taken through specially designed sessions which Leher has been working behind. Like, you'll use PRA exercises to help initiate those discussions on safe, unsafe spaces, on uh, on gender, on how do you differentiate between a fact, rumor, and so different ways in which conversations that which will help build agency of children. That's essentially the purpose of these groups. And does the VCPC work proactively? Yeah. So the VCPC also, just like the children's group, meet on a monthly basis and Leher facilitates specially designed sessions with them. Similarly, like that, with the VCPC, they meet on a monthly basis. That's also a composition of 10 to 15 persons. You have a combination of duty bearers, that's your frontline workers like your ASHA, Anganwadi worker, your teacher, and ordinary community members. That's like your parents, single mothers, maybe youth, SG members, all of them who are also form part of this group. They meet on a monthly basis. When we say proactively working to identify cases, it may not be only a child marriage case or a child labor case. As I put up there, they also work on identifying issues like, they visit the school, the local school, which is in the community, and see what are the lacunae, what are the gaps, or like, a toilet not being there, maybe drinking water not being available, maybe children not coming regularly to school. So they identify issues like this, take them one by one, and then they see, okay, if children are not coming to school, which are those children? If it's these children, then what can we do about it? Maybe we'll visit their home and see what is the problem. So this is how they work on issues. They pick up these cases, but definitely to initiate the identification of these cases, Leher does have some tools which we make use of to help this discussion start off. There's Umeshji, Kanika, Seema on call as well, so they can also, if you want more examples, I'm sure they can always share. I'm happy to give more information later on also if I'm not resolved. Yeah.
Tasha, I want to ask you a question. That VCPCs are working with the Bal Sabha, and children are raising the issues in Bal Sabha, and the issues are taken up in GPDP. So
Yeah.
I want to know that
Mhm.
is these Gram Panchayats
Yeah.
are reserving 5%, at least 5% untied fund in their GPDP?
So that's definitely on paper, and that's definitely something that we're working towards. But right now, they have started the process. Now, even when you're saying Bal Sabhas are not, they don't happen everywhere. But even to make it happen, to facilitate that process and get the panchayats to allot time and everything for it is a process. I think Umesh ji can share on this because just recently they've been able to do this on August 15th, the Gram Sabha, which was held. In the month of August, they were able to ensure that a Bal Sabha actually takes place. But this itself is the process. In terms of the 5%, it's there on paper, but it doesn't really happen. What we've seen does work is when you present the panchayat with legit issues of saying that, we've gone into the community, we've gone into the school and seen that with no drinking water, the children are going elsewhere, or they have to go home to drink water, or there's no boundary wall, or there is no like desks or something. If you give them a proper list of things and also present it in a way saying that because of no water, then all these children from first standard to seventh standard don't have access. So if it's presented like that, we have seen that the Gram Panchayats have responded. They have put aside money. Kanika, how much was it that they put in Balaso? Some 7 lakhs for that school thing? If you can share on that. In
Could
Balaso,
ask,
how much did
yeah.
they put aside for the school? The
like
7 lakh.
last I remember was like in total, if we say of 17 lakhs in
Yeah.
total across many villages, like around
Yeah.
I think in 9 villages altogether it was 17 lakhs.
And this was ranging on issues like
Like lack of separate toilets for girls and boys, lack of sufficient desks and benches in school, yeah, boundary walls, damaged school building, etc. Yeah.
so you have that in Orissa and in Maharashtra. I know, like in a district called Nandurbar, under the GPDP they allotted fees for 2 security guards, to patrol a dam because children were falling in. So to ensure security and safety for persons moving in and around that area, the VCPC and the children's group had raised this issue, and this was how the panchayat tried to work to resolve this issue by creating awareness, saying that putting those danger signs, but also appointing 2 guards to patrol those spaces. So these are ways, yes, it's not 5%, but this is a start towards, trying to just ensure that the community space becomes a safer space. Yeah.
So more questions for Ava Avanti ma'am from Salaudi is asking, could you please elaborate more on the self-help group part? Like, do self-help groups align with any government schemes or support, or like what are the underlying challenges, if any? And what strategies have you been following to keep this self-help group running and active?
So with the self-help groups that are running with us, the first is definitely the old SHGs that we have. We try to get in collaboration with government team and at least getting them registered with the help of nationalized banks. But definitely the challenge that is that all members don't have the documents, or the documentation becomes one of the major challenges. So then, but we were able to register 3 to 4 SHGs, and through that, the women were able to get training through government subsidies, and at the same time, and the ones who were not able to register, so we have kind of various methods so that the members are active and constant, and there is no change. So the motivation can be some kind of recreational sessions, once in a year. Even like for example, the women who are daily wage earners, and they don't take time for themselves apart from the family rituals. So even for them, going for a 1 day picnic makes a lot of difference because they give themselves that time. So initially there was like a hindrance or family challenges that how you cannot go to a resort, or it means they had to go through the family drama. But then motivating them, and when they saw that okay 20 women went, and then 40, then now almost 80 to 90 women ensure that once a day that picnic happens for themselves. So that 1 day is also very important for them. So like these kind of initiatives are taken by family services so that they stay with the self-help group, and not only saving but even addressing emotional aspects are through the close group are being addressed, and that gives them the motivation to stay in the self-help group. Yes, but documentation is one of the major challenge in terms of enrolling them into government schemes. But we are kind of working with the stakeholders, the ward people, and getting them connected. But 3 SHGs are registered with government.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
We have some few more minutes if anyone wants to drop in any more questions or any reflections. It doesn't have to be questions, it could be a reflections or like sharing your best practices as well. We have just some few more minutes, so you can take that up here.
Yeah, Sony, yeah, Brenda this side. So, I think there was another question from Isaac, and that was for the Avanti ma'am. Ma'am, he had asked that is the family service center is similar as the family resource center?
No, family services.
So, it is completely a family service center. It's not a
No,
Basically, Family Service Center is an organization, is a
It's an
non-profit organization.
Over to you, Kavita.
So we still have 2-3 more minutes if anyone has any questions or any reflections. So please unmute yourself and you can ask your question directly to our speakers.
If there's no more questions or reflections, thank you so much for actively participating. And once again, I just want to thank all the speakers for all very insightful, very innovative approaches and interventions. It is really nice to hear what you are doing, and I'm sure everybody have got something out of this webinar, and which we will use it in our own work. And also for the participants as well, thank you so much for being with us and also for raising very thoughtful questions, and our speaker for addressing it up. So, and I think from all of the conversation, I can just make it out that this is something which we could talk on, like this conversation could go on for much longer. So, but then, yeah, I will now hand it over to Kavita ma'am to just help us sum up today's discussions, and then there are some reflections for way forward. Yeah, ma'am, over to you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sony, for the wonderful moderation, and thank you, Tasha, Shivani ma'am, and Avanti for the wonderful presentation and sharing the initiatives by NEEP Collective, Leher, and Family Service Center, and Muskan and Safe City with us. I think what we have learned one thing from this, like when we talk about Tasha's, like we also need to look at family strengthening at a different tiers. We cannot just look at it at the district level. We also need to go into the community level. We also need to go into the local governance level as well. Like the question which was just coming about the untied fund, how we can ensure that this fund is actually utilized for the family strengthening and support to the children and families. As Tasha very well mentioned that right now the provision is there, but how this fund is being utilized is another challenge, and for what purposes it is being utilized. In a couple of discussion earlier as well, we've learned this fund is being utilized for the physical structure building, like taking care of Anganwadis, if there is a broken building or a wall or a painting of the Anganwadi structure. But can the fund can also be used in supporting, providing cash plus support to the families, or in financial support to the families who are vulnerable. And so it's a wonderful presentation, and thank you, Tasha, for the wonderful presentation, and also sharing with us the NEEP Collective, the about NEEP Collective, which also make us think it is important to join the collaborate on different efforts. It's not possible for one organization to work at different levels and fulfilling all the services, all the support that the organizations require. Like we've seen the support in terms of linking families to social protection scheme. Avanti ma'am highlighted about the issues of documentation. Shivani ma'am highlighted the issues of specific communities like the notified tribes, their documentation, how their status in the community has also made them even more vulnerable when we talk about it. But I think when we collaborate all these services, we can actually strengthen families and support children and ensure that there is very minimum institutionalization. And I agree with people's like what Avanti ji has said. Along with foster care, we also need to look into community services as well, education, mental health support, in not in just of emotional well-being, but also giving children and adolescents a direction, a career path also, which is very important, which Avanti ji has highlighted in her presentation. And Shivani ma'am, thank you so much for sharing about the Safe City initiative and how adolescents are coming forward to talk about their rights, to talk about their responsibilities, and making the city very safe for them and for other adolescents. And very recently, when I heard about the Safe City initiative, I've met one of the champion over there in MP, and shared how the adolescents who have created this group under the Safe City initiative have been able to manage to stop at least 3 to 4 child marriages, which is a very, very wonderful initiative on part of the adolescents. So congratulations on that, Shivani ma'am. And again, a very warm thank you to Aswini for the wonderful presentation, and Ranjika ma'am for helping us, plan this session and collaborating with IUCN for this series. As we mentioned this is a series, and in the first series we highlighted the innovations and practices from North District, and today we heard from the western regions of the country and central region. And in the next, we're planning to bring either from the East region or from the South. So I hope you will again join us for the series. And just one thing I think we had also invited one person from NECG, but due to some personal circumstances and very sudden circumstances, he could not join at the session today. But I hope we'll be able to hear him again some other time. And thank you again for joining us today and for being with us. Please stay tuned for the next series of the webinar as well. And thank you for the wonderful, wonderful presentations and documentation. We have a lot of documentation on family strengthening support, and very recently ISVN has also developed a guidance and framework for family strengthening, which is available on our website. I have shared the link here on the chat as well. Please look at the document. If you have any feedback about it, do share it with us. So thank you again for being with us today. Thank you everyone for joining.